Hey family, what if every single week you could discover the most unique, high-quality Black-owned products and brands and support our community with every purchase that you make? What if your everyday spending became a tool for building wealth, shifting narratives, and leveling the playing field for Black people worldwide? That's exactly why I created Be Smart by Black. Now, we started out as a two-sided marketplace, but now we're taking it to a whole new level with our free weekly newsletter. Every week, we'll handpick and deliver the best Black-owned products, exclusive deals, and inspiring brand stories right to your inbox. Here's the thing. We're in pre-launch right now, and if you sign up today at besmartbyblack.com, you'll get first access to our very first editions, VIP-only discounts, and the inside track on limited drops that sell out fast. Once we launch to the public, you'll miss those early bird perks. Now, this isn't just about shopping. It's about circulating dollars in our community, creating jobs, controlling narratives, and making sure Black businesses thrive. Like I always say, there's no revolution without economics. So don't wait. Go to besmartbyblack.com, join the pre-launch list, and be a part of this movement. And don't forget to share the web link Be Smart by Black with all of your network. Welcome to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the #1 podcast and resource for Black entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful, sustainable businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. If you're currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, you're invited to join us each and every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family and get ready to elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 586. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and informative show in store for you. Today, we're going to be doing a rebroadcast of one of our most downloaded and impactful episodes from April of 2024, titled Test into Success. Test into Success. Now, let's get ready for today's show content. Today's show topic is titled Test into Success. Test into Success. Now, when it comes to starting a new business or rolling out a new product, many entrepreneurs waste too much time and too many resources only to find out that their idea or business is not viable. So on today's show, I'm going to show you guys 3 or 4 different ways to test a product or a new business without going broke, okay? To put it in layman's terms. But before we get to today's content, let me just share a few things with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family. First and foremost, I want to welcome all first-time listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family. Please stick around until the end of today's broadcast, and I'm going to share all my social media contact information and resource links, such as the link to my latest workshop, I Need More Leads.pro. That's I Need More Leads, LEADS, .pro. That's PRO. So if your business is about to go out of business, if you're struggling to make ends meet or make the money that you need in your business, or if you're at a ceiling and you can't scale your business, make sure you go to the workshop, I Need More Leads.pro. The investment is less than you spend in Starbucks for the month for a cup of coffee. It's a one-time investment of only $29. It's almost a no-brainer, guys. So everybody should be looking at this workshop because everybody needs more leads and more sales to make more money. Now, let's get ready for today's show content. Test into success. Now, as I mentioned, guys, many of us have these brilliant ideas. If you're like me, I've got entrepreneur ADD, right? I've got to focus and stay focused so I don't go off on a tangent. How many of you have been researching something, looking at a new business idea or a new product or service, And by the time you finish researching, you're on something that you didn't even think about looking up before. And I call that entrepreneur ADD. And a lot of us have it because we look for opportunities. So one of the things that I tell my coaching students is that you always need to test. There's nothing wrong with testing, but you want to test in a way where you're not going to expend all of your resources or your time for something that's not going to work. So I want you to look at this or come into today's episode and think that you're like a mad scientist, because literally that's what you have to be. You're a scientist. You're trying things. You're testing things. You're seeing what works, what doesn't work. The problem with many entrepreneurs is they don't test enough. Now, you want to test fast so you can get proof of failure or proof of success. But either one, you want to know before you move on. So you have to have that mindset of a mad scientist. And really, guys, entrepreneurship is a science. There's a science to it. It's a science to building a business. It's a science to growing and scaling a business. I just mentioned I need more leads.pro. That's a lead generation system. It's a science behind it. So we need to understand that we have to have that type of mindset to be a successful entrepreneur. So when you do have this entrepreneur ADD, try to test your new product or service or your business idea, but don't expend a whole lot of money, time, and resources. And that's what we're going to break into right now. So the first way you can test a product or service or new business that you're starting is to pre-sell. You want to test to see if a product or service sells by making pre-sales. Now, if the product or service or business, whatever it is you're selling, if it makes pre-sales, then you go ahead and fulfill it. Okay, you haven't lost anything. Now, let me give you an idea of some of the easiest things that you can pre-sell for a business. So most of the things are usually digital type products. So for example, you can pre-sell a workshop. So if you're a business coach, you can create a workshop. You can pre-sell that workshop. There's not really much you have to do up front except to prepare for the workshop. Or if you're a business coach or a consultant, another thing that you can do, guys, is you can create a beta group, right? And these are people that want to join a group for some specific purpose. Now, you don't have to really do the work until the actual group starts. A consultation. That's another pre-sell. You can pre-sell a one-on-one consultation or coaching. You don't necessarily have to really spend a lot of time and resources preparing that product or service or whatever it is, because you're only going to administer or fulfill that product or service if enough people raise their hand and pay their money to get into the program. So this alleviates a lot of doing a lot of work. So there are many people out here that do online courses like crazy. They think that they're going to sell this great online course. They spend days, weeks, hours putting together this online course. Then when they try to market it, nobody enrolls in the program. Been there, done that. Okay. And it still happens sometime today. So what I do is I'll create a framework of an online course, right? Now that framework is in order. I'll put some notes to it. Then I'll offer it. And if enough people raise their hand, I'll go and complete the program. Now, if the response is bad, then I'll just cancel the program and refund the money. And that's a simple way, guys, to pre-sell. You see a lot of authors pre-sell a book. You do see course creators pre-selling their online courses. And this gives them the ability to find out if it's even worth their time and resources to actually come through and create the product or service. So you want to pre-sell. Let me give you another example of pre-selling with the physical product. And I've said this on several episodes, but for those of you who haven't listened to it, this is good information. And for those of you that have heard this story, it's still a good story, okay? So years ago, I used to sell this supplement. It was a nootropic that helps people stay sharp and be focused when they're doing their work. So what I did was I found a manufacturer and I got about 5 or 6 sample bottles. Now, I took the nootropic for a while, and I had other people take it to see how it worked and if they thought it worked, because you always want to make sure the products or services that you're selling are quality. And so I said, okay, this works pretty good. The price per bottle, I think, was like $5 or $6 a bottle. I'll just say $5 a bottle. And I was going to sell it for $29.95 a month on a subscription. Now, what I did was I had contracted out with the manufacturer to have my labels pre-done. So I went and I had a graphic designer go and do my labels with my product name on it and everything that's, associated with the nootropic supplement. And the labels were ready to go. So I sent that to the product manufacturer. I didn't place a full order yet because I didn't know if this was going to sell. So the whole concept was this. I started running traffic to a landing page with the actual supplement on there. The call to action was to pay shipping and handling of $6.95 and get your first month free. But every month after that, if you don't cancel, you'll get a $30 bottle of the supplement, right? So I'm losing a little bit of money up front because remember, I have to drive traffic to the landing page. The bottles cost me $5. I'm only making $6.95. So the margins are very small. But I know come month number 2, when they make that first payment, I've already got the customer. I have monthly recurring revenue, and my cost is $5 a bottle, and they're paying $30. So what I did was I said to myself, if I sell 25 of these bottles, then what I'll do is I'll actually call the manufacturer and say, hey, yeah, ship me 100 bottles. Here, slap my label on. You already have it. And then I'll do the fulfillment. And they told me that they could have that done. And once I placed the order, they could have my product to me in about 3 or 4 days. So I let the customers know who bought the product that it would be about 7 days before they got the initial bottle. They only paid $6.95 shipping and handling anyway. So I had to set that fulfillment expectation up front. So they knew it was going to be about 7 days before they got the product. And they also knew 30 days from that date, they would be shipped another bottle and be billed $29 or $29.95. So what happened was after about 3 or 4 days, I sold over like 40 bottles. So I said, oh man, this is working. So let me go and call the manufacturer and make my first order for 100 bottles. And so literally what I did was on that landing page, I had a mock-up. It was an actual drawing. It wasn't even a physical picture of the bottle with my label. It was a drawing, very good drawing that my graphic artist did. And it had all the sales. It was a video sales letter. And so that's a way to also pre-sell without going in the whole ordering 500 bottles of this supplement and nobody wants it. So that's a little different from the digital example I gave you of somebody creating a beta group or a coaching call or an online course or something of that nature. So making the pre-sale, that's one way to test into success. And remember, the whole key for testing is you want to either fail fast or succeed fast. That's where your resources come into play. Now, you want to play around and act as a mad scientist and you want to tweak a couple of things, but you don't want to invest a lot of money and resources and time into something that may not work. Okay. So those are examples of pre-selling. And the greatest test anybody can give, guys, is when somebody goes into Hip Pocket National and pays for your product or service. You can have focus groups with family members, friends, and all of that, and people are going to tell you, oh, I would buy the product. But then when you put it out, nobody else buys it. So the biggest test is if somebody goes into their pocket, spends their hard-earned money for your product or service. So that's why pre-selling is a great way to give you an honest answer or honest feedback on if you have a possible product or service. Another example I did, guys, and this is from a different angle. I had a magazine years ago. It was a home improvement magazine. And what I did was I knew that I couldn't sell all these home improvement companies. So I said, let me get some sales reps. Now, I had got a mock-up done of the magazine. It was probably like a 12-page mock-up so the sales reps could see it and they could actually show that to the potential advertisers. And so I got that done. I spent a couple $100 on that. I had some dummy ads in there from some real companies. And what I did was I put an ad out for commission sales reps, advertising sales reps that want to work on commission for this product. And the dummy ad, I wasn't even sure if I was going to do the magazine, but I wanted to see if I could get people that would actually sell the advertising. So I went through the interviews and all the way to the end, and then I didn't hire them. I just said, hey, somebody else is more in tune with this position. Thank you very much for their time. But they were actually people ready to sell. Now, what happened was I came back and revamped the magazine a little bit because I had some of the advertisers were asking me about some of the stuff. So I revamped it. I did the whole process again, and I actually did hire about 7 account executives to go sell advertising. But I wanted to know if I was able to have people that could actually go out and sell the product. So I had to create a mock-up magazine. I had to do a dummy run or a test run for employees, and that's the way I tested that concept. I knew advertisers would advertise in the publication if the pricing was right because I had already been in that space. So I wasn't worried about them. What I was worried about is, can I get people out here to sell the product for me? And that was the biggest test I had. So that is another way, guys, of testing before you actually spend a whole lot of money. The next way to test a product or service, guys, is to create a beta group. So you want to get a group of people to test your product or service at a discount or free so you can get the feedback. You can also charge people to be in your beta group and make money while learning what people actually want. So you can place an ad on social media saying something like, hey, join this beta group, and you want to lay out the condition and all the rules. And for Brand Builder Academy Elite, that was a program that I rolled out probably 5 or 6 years ago. I ran a beta group for Brand Builder Academy Elite for people who wanted to build an online business. They wanted to do e-commerce. And what I did was I offered a lower or a discounted amount to, I think we had 12 people in that group. So this way I could understand what they wanted out of the program versus what I was giving them. They gave me great feedback, and the next iteration of the program was a lot better. But in order to get that initial feedback, I created that beta group. So I was testing. They actually paid to be in the beta group, excuse me, not as much as the normal person would pay, but I needed something from them. I needed their feedback and their response. So that's another way to test. Now, if nobody signed up for the beta group, guess what? I would learn quickly that it's not a viable option, or maybe I'm not presenting it correctly. So another way, guys, is a beta group. Now, something that's also similar to a beta group, which is another thing, is called quizzing your audience. So you want to identify your target audience and have them take a short quiz and ask them what they want or need from a product or service that you are offering or can offer. Okay. So you want to use like quiz software. So there's quiz software like tryinteract.com is a great quiz software, and it has conditional logic, meaning if they say yes to this, then they'll get a certain group of next questions. If they say no to that question, they'll get a different segment of questions. So it's called conditional logic. So if you ever want to do a quiz software, make sure that it has conditional logic where you can walk people through certain paces. So that way, that customer journey is specific to their answers. You don't want to just ask, question after question. There's some software out there that's really not conditional in terms of the logic, and that's really not going to work. You want to take people on their specific path. What are they interested in? So you'll see it on sites such as lendingtree.com, right? If you're looking for a new mortgage, what state are you in? What's your name, email address? What state? What's the size of property? Are you looking for a single family, multifamily, condo? And it takes people through a set of questions based on the previous question. So it's called conditional logic. So don't sleep on quizzing your audience. And I'm going to tell you guys, in order to lead generation, quizzes are a great way to generate leads for your database. So just like I used Lending Tree as an example, I was looking for, my wife and I actually were looking for senior living for my in-laws. They were just checking it out. They're still healthy and living on their own, but we were looking for senior living for them. And we found a couple of sites. And once again, it was conditional logic. How old are they? How much money do they have? When are they looking to move into, this assisted living? So it's funny because I went and I played around with it. And so I went back in and I changed some of the numbers. So they were asking how much money per month could they afford. And I put it down to just something silly like $100. And it didn't take me through the rest of the questions. It actually said to me, we'll send you out some information. They were qualifying me through that quiz. So they were like, hey, this guy only has $100 for assisted living. We don't have anybody that's going to help him. So let's give him some information so he can mull over that and try to figure out what the hell he was going to do. But that is conditional logic, and that's quizzing. So that's a very great way, guys, to actually test a product or service or to build a database using quizzing. Before we get to the last segment, let me just share my contact information and my resource links. So I mentioned at the top of the show, guys, if your business is about to go out of business, if you're struggling right now, you have a business and you're not making enough money where it's viable, you're working your butt off, but you're not bringing in the income, or you're at a plateau and you can't break through and scale, go check out my new workshop, I Need More Leads.pro. I Need More Leads, LEADS.pro. It's a video on there. You can learn about the program. The investment is a no-brainer. It is $29 one-time investment. I'm telling you right now, this could be a life-changing program for your business and for you. Because without leads, there's no sales, there's no money, and guess what? You're going out of business. Bottom line, simple as that. And in order to scale, you need leverage. And a lead generation system gives you leverage to help you grow and scale your business. Go to ineedmoreleads.pro. Now, if you want to contact me, anything long, family, hit me on my email address, jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Also, Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Twitter, jjones001. Instagram, I have 2 IG accounts. The first one is J Jones for Real, JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. Second one is Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Go to LinkedIn, type in J Jones, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. And don't forget to connect with me on YouTube. We have additional content on YouTube that is not on the podcast. So go to YouTube, type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, and hit that subscribe button. Also, for any first-time listeners, we drop a new episode every Monday morning, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on all your major podcast platforms and YouTube. So wherever you're listening to this episode or watching it, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you'll get alerted when new episodes come out. Now, let me just do this recap on today's episode. We're talking about test into success. Guys, this is one of the biggest reasons businesses fail. People go balls to the wall and don't have proof of concept. You either want to have one or two things happen. You get proof of concept or proof of failure. Proof this isn't going to work. And the faster you get to one of those two conclusions, the better. You don't want to waste a lot of time, money, or resources in something that's not going to work. So being able to test something with minimal resources spent is amazing. You have to understand how that changes the scope of your business. If you know how to test new products or new services or test new business ideas and it doesn't cost you a lot of money, that just opens up a plethora of opportunities for you. Many times we go too far in and expend time and resources before we know what's going to happen. Some of the ways you can do this is doing pre-sales. A lot of authors do it. They pre-sell their book. You can also make sales. That is the preeminent way to test if a product or service is out there. So anytime somebody goes in their pocket, be it a pre-sale or whatever, that is a perfect indicator of how successful that business is going to be or that product or service is going to be. Also, you want to create a beta group. That's another option so people can give you feedback, and this can help you tweak and make your product or service better. And also, you can quiz your audience. Now, in terms of quizzing, a lot of times when you do that, when people don't have to come out of pocket, a lot of times that data is not as hard or not as on point as data from people that are actually spending money out of Hip Pocket National. But test into success, guys. I'm telling you, once you learn this skill, it's going to open up a plethora of opportunities for you in all types of different avenues in terms of entrepreneurship. If you get this system or this science down, and remember, you have to work as a mad scientist. You got to look at different things. You got to tweak things, but it's all a science. So if you see an opportunity, instead of spending all your money and resources, you can test and see if this is something that you want to get into without blowing all your money, your time, and your resources. So test into success. Now, I say this each and every week because it's true. We get more and more downloads because of you, the BEB family, and I appreciate it so much, guys. Please continue to spread the word about the podcast, the website, new, revised, revamped, blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. We have so much content on there for free. Go to the website, hit the Learn tab, and on the Learn tab, we have resources for marketing, e-commerce, sales, mindset, scaling your business. Everything there to help you elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Remember, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about us. It's about building an economic power base in the worldwide Black community by building and supporting Black-owned businesses. Love you guys. See you same time next week. Peace.